All right, we're going to call the meeting back to order. And I apologize, I guess we had some technical glitches where we weren't coming out over there, so hopefully we've got all that fixed now. And if you would go ahead and.
Thank you. Thank you. Now, can everybody hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah, let's go ahead and start. If you will start your presentation over so that we make sure we get it out to the
Be
public.
happy to do it.
Thank you.
No problem at all. I've had to do that in school before. My name's Lawrence Bearden. I live at 437 Magnolia Street, Davidson, North Carolina, and I'm a developer, and we're going to build an O'Reilly store in this market. And this is a site we've chosen, and we've been working with Mecklenburg County and the staff here in Mint Hill to make sure that what we do complies with both ordinances of the county and the town of Mint Hill. The site is on the corner of Philadelphia Church Road and Fairview Road. And if you will note on the site plan, we're placing the driveway on the Philadelphia Church Road, not on Fairview, which is a high traffic or corridor, which we verified with NCDOT. They will not allow us to have that. At one point, there was a residential house on the site that had a driveway on Fairview and one on Philadelphia Church Road. The site slopes from the front to the back slightly, and we're putting the retention or BMP environmental pond. It's not a pond, it's a reservoir where the water soaks into the rear of our site away from Fairview. And if you'll see on the site plan, we've incorporated landscaping around the entire site that meets town requirements and also Mecklenburg County requirements. We've also placed parking spaces according to code. We have put knee walls in around the parking lot, and we have simulated brick coming into the building and in front of our building on the walks and all the facings. There are several large deciduous trees that have been there for some time, and we're going to attempt to save all of those if we can. I just want to make sure that they're going to be able to be lived or livable, and I think they can because we're back 25 feet from the right-of-way on the Fairview Road. If you would go to the next slide, John. Okay. Thank you. This shows the elevations of the building, which we have worked with planning staff with here to have approved to make sure that we're in compliance with all the town ordinances. Normally, our building is about 19 feet, 4 inches in height, and we're going to make that 22 feet. And it's all brick, except for the top crown mold that goes around, which will be EIFS. If you'll also note, we've been concerned about colors. Normally, our color code on our building is a bright red, and we've changed that to a muted brown color. And we will have that on the front of the building, which is the top elevation that faces Philadelphia Church Road. The next elevation faces our BMP pond or pond down behind us. The other elevation with the gutters coming down off it faces a vacant lot in between ourselves and the tire store. The side that faces Fairview Road, we felt like that we wanted to make sure that we had enough glass on this side exceeding your code that would provide sight into our store. So this is our retail store side. And if you think about the building itself, there's a blank spot on that side, down on the lower side, and we're asking for an exception on that. It's where we keep our bathrooms and stockroom. On the front, the top elevation, there's also a blank spot, and we'd like to get an exception on that, where we don't have glass in there because that's our stockroom. We have racks in there and storage, and they're metal racks, and all they have is parts in it. That's basically our site architectural feature on the building, and we're very proud of this. We have an architect in Springfield, Missouri that works with O'Reilly's exclusively to design and draw this so it will be in compliance with everything in the town. So basically our site plan and the building all meet town codes and Mecklenburg codes except for one thing, and that's the use of the windows on these 19-foot sections. That's where you normally require. If you look at Philadelphia Church Road, we have 62 feet of glass. and our building's only 85 feet. In the front, our storefront is 40 feet, and we have 85 feet, so we're almost 50% glass in the front. And we have doors on both of those elevations. So that's my presentation. I would appreciate your support in the future, and we look forward to it. You asked me a question during the break, Mike. It takes us 90 to 120 days to get this building up from beginning, and that includes grading, and we should be able to accomplish that. So we'll open this store, let's see, January, February of next year. It'll be up and open.
Comments or questions, Commissioner Holton?
I got none. Thank you.
I have none either. Thank you.
I'm just glad to see it. Thank you.
Thank you.
No, sir. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you. Do we have people who have signed up to speak to this public hearing? With nobody signed up to speak to item, we will close the public hearing on ZC 20-3.
Thank you. Do I need to leave now?
Yeah, you're good. Give me 1 second. I need to check to make sure all this is working again properly.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
How's everything in the cheap seats?
I'm getting text that it's working.
I got one that said video's not working.
Okay, as we heard a little while ago, there was a problem with the feed going out. There was no sound on the live feed. I did see that I received a couple of emails on it that didn't get here during the process that was going on. So I was made aware of it by a couple of our citizens. So what we're going to do is to have a public hearing, the public has to hear it. So we're going to have Nick come back in. He probably going to be doing his at the end, but we're going to redo that first public hearing. And if we've got any citizens that are out there now that would like to speak to the first one that we didn't have the sound on, if they'll come on down here, we'll give them the opportunity to speak at the public hearing. And you say Nick is coming back, he'll probably be the last one. So what we'll do is we will redo public hearing on ZC 19-9, item number 6. And we'll do that, stick it in there after the number 10 item. So item number 8 is a public hearing on ZC 20-4 filed by Land Investment Resources for tax parcels numbers 137-061-13, 137-281-56, 137-281-59, and 137-281-54 to allow for conditional district rezoning from R to RCD to allow a residential development. Welcome, sir. If you would give us your name and your address for the record, and then you have the floor for your presentation.
Thank you, Mayor. My name is Philip Hayes. Address is 3440 Torrington Way, Suite 205 in Charlotte, North Carolina 28227. I guess we're all learning how to scramble with this new way of doing things. So I'll try to stay as brief as I can, knowing that you have to rehear something. John, the back and forward buttons on here?
Yeah, it works.
Okay, good. So we've been working on this little project since about November of last year, and we've continued through planning during the time period when you weren't meeting. I'm happy to be here now, and I want to appreciate you hearing us tonight. Property is, you're probably familiar, obviously, is located on Willgrove Mint Hill Road at the corner of Happy Hollow Drive. The property has 35.24 total acres. There is 19.14 in a parcel in the front and 16.10 in a parcel in the rear. We're proposing at this point approximately 55 to 57 lots based on some final site changes that we're going to make for a total DUA of about 1.56. This is the site plan that's been preliminarily approved by Mecklenburg County and Town Planning. The key plan elements that we have here is the front portion with a traditional lot grid design and the rear section with estate-sized lots. There are 3 key open space areas that will remain undisturbed. So we were fortunate, even though we weren't required to have a community meeting, we were fortunate to be able to have one this past Monday. We set up a tent on the front corner of the property so everybody be safe and well apart. We had approximately 20 attendees. Most of those folks were from Grove Hall, which is the adjacent subdivision. There were a few people from across the street and one of the other next door neighbors as well. We had principally about 5 or 6 issues. The first one, and the one that we feel is the most important one to respond to, the original engineering design for this site has the road in the back, Road D, adjacent to the Grove Hall subdivision, with that road being pretty close actually to those 3 lots. In a prior iteration of this site plan, that road was reversed. And we intend, based on our discussions with those property owners, to re-engineer this to do what's shown on this slide. It will reverse the road. It will have those lot backyards backing up to those Grove Hall residents, and I think will alleviate their concerns. The other issues that were talked about at the meeting, everybody obviously is always concerned with potential traffic impacts. We have not received comments back yet from NCDOT. We anticipate that at a minimum they will probably ask for a left turn lane, which we will have to accommodate and can accommodate within the 60-foot right-of-way of that road. We don't know yet whether that will be on Happy Hollow or whether they'll want that to us to pull that further back so that it will be where the neighborhood entrance is, which will probably have more in and out traffic. Several people were concerned about stormwater runoff. Obviously, it's not a common thing for people that are not in business to know, but we are required to comply with the town's and Mecklenburg County's stormwater ordinance for the density that we have. We have designed a stormwater facility for this project that's designed to handle the 25-year storm, which is a part of the requirement. So that will be in place and be there permanently to provide water quality and storage treatment. The density versus by right density, we talked about that at the meeting. We talked about where we are relative to the objectives of the town. And we feel like we've created a plan that's consistent with the policy and the idea of using a cluster size for the lots, keeping the density below what we all hope to achieve, and at the same time having less land disturbance and being able to keep more open space. We think this plan does that very well. The price point and the quality of the homes was another issue that was questioned. I'm fairly certain we will start at no less than $350 and probably end up in the 4s. One of the things that we're considering, we've been approached by a national builder that does an age-targeted product. It's not age-restricted, but they would be also a demographic that they spend a lot of money on the inside of the houses, and so that pushes up the price point, even though they don't necessarily have as much living space. There were some questions about buffers and tree save areas. Obviously, we've got a great deal of open space that adjacent to the subdivision behind us. We will have buffers on each side of the subdivision adjacent to Happy Hollow and to the frontage of the site. One of the neighbors asked whether we'd be able to keep the trees in areas where there were buffers which have trees, and we told them that we would definitely try to do that if the topography and the grading requirements of the site would allow us to do that. There were finally a few additional questions. There were some questions about whether or not there would be a pedestrian crosswalk. There were some folks on the other side that wanted to be able to get safely to the park. We said we'd talk to DOT about that. Mostly some other miscellaneous questions, but nothing beyond that that rose to a level of concern. That's again the original plan. One of the things that I've been doing, I'm a market consultant that is on a group of brokers and developers that we provide advice and commentary and analysis to a company called John Burns. John Burns is a national real estate research residential real estate firm. They have an impeccable reputation, and they've been developing a lot of research about how homes will evolve, new homes will evolve after what all we've gone through. People have changed their thinking about how they want to live and what their life patterns are. And I want to talk about a few of those because it affects, again, price point, and affects where people want to put their money when they buy a new home. And so real quickly, there are two concepts. One is that new equals healthy. That seems pretty obvious. You're walking into a new home where nobody else has ever been. The second one is that health and wellness features are important. Things like home gyms, things like touchless facilities such as the sinks and the light switches. Those are important. Obviously, the other issue that's important is the working from home and the teaching from home. People would be looking for better ways to office at home, and especially if both the husband and the wife are working from home, to separate that activity. The extra living suites is a phenomenon that you'll see where families are beginning to come back together. Children are living more with their parents. Parents are living more with their children. And so the idea of what you want to do with your house is to have an extra suite where those family members can live safely with you. Again, just summarizing that up, these are all those points. And these are things that people are looking to spend money on in their homes. That's pretty much the presentation in a nutshell. I'm open to, obviously, any questions. I'll try to.
Commissioner Long, any questions or comments?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. You made the comment, Mr. Field, there on the left turn lane. My question would be, you said it might be at the primary entrance if you put in a left turn lane on Woodgrove Mint Hill. Is that accurate, not Happy Hollow?
We would put it wherever you prefer based on NCDOT allowing us to do that, certainly.
Okay. Based on their documentation, there's about 7,200 cars a day on Woodgrove Mint Hill Road. So personally, I would push heavily. I don't think DOT would require it, but personally, I live on Happy Hollow. I don't object to the project, but I do object to traffic safety because that's one of my passions. I didn't really understand the crosswalk question because this project is on the west side of Woodgrove Mint Hill, and the Mint Hill Park is on the west side, so I didn't understand the cross. What do you mean a crosswalk?
That came from some residents that live on the other side of the road because they were invited to the meeting due to their proximity to the site, and their point was it's unsafe for them to try to cross Woodgrove Mint Hill to walk down to the park. So
Okay.
that was coming from the residents across.
Okay, thank you. One other thing, and you may or may not can answer this. I know at present there are numerous or several large bodies of water on the back side of this. It looks like in the area that would be left undisturbed. Just from a safety standpoint, if those bodies of water are left, are you responsible from the safety getting to those in the future?
So there's two that I'm aware of, and there may be another one that I'm not aware of, but the two that are the back of the front parcel of the property, one of those is based on the determination that we've had from the Corps of Engineers, is disconnected from any water system, and therefore we're going to convert that into our stormwater facility. The other one is a dry pond. We're going to fill that in and turn that into another open space for the community.
Okay, I have no other questions. Thank you.
Mr. Cochran?
The comments and emails that I've received from citizens You answered that question. I just want to be sure they all fully understand that that road, you're more than willing to get that road away from those the backyards of those folks that have a subdivision. As a matter of fact, that was one of your own first original ideas.
Yes,
Is that
sir.
correct? The other question I had was Happy Hollow is an older road and so forth down through there. Are y'all doing anything to improve Happy Hollow or ditches or what's going to be going on with the Happy Hollow Road?
John may be able to answer this question, I think, but my engineer, and he can show you what he's looked at, but I think they're looking at doing curb and gutter and sidewalk on our side of Happy Hollow, but not disturbing the yards of the residences on the other side of the street.
Okay. That's all.
Mayor Pro Tem Dalton.
I'd like to see an elevation of your product. Is this going to be a single, two-story housing? What do you?
Combination of those.
Combination. And exterior, the materials?
We will be using 100% hardy plank on the sides and the rears. We'll be using combination of brick, shingle, and stone on the front.
And all these houses have garages to them?
Yes, sir. I'm pretty sure they're all. I mean, I haven't, like I say, we haven't picked a builder yet, but I don't think there's many builders today that are building without garages.
Okay. And as far as the DOT study, yeah, definitely the turn lane. But I also would like to see a slow down or a reduced lane coming into town from off of.
A decel lane turning
Yes.
into Happy Hollow?
Yes.
Or into the main subdivision? Yes, certainly will. I suppose they're going to suggest that anyway.
Okay, that's all.
Commissioner Holton.
I think that was my biggest question, was a decel lane coming in onto Happy Hollow right there. And as long as that road's not going back behind the Grove Hall residence,
Right.
As was shown in that there.
We will have that designed and engineered before the Planning Commission meeting.
Okay. I'm good.
Thank you.
If you would just have a seat over here, we've got some people who signed up to speak to this, and we want you to be able to hear what's going on with that. I have 4 people on the list, and the first one is Andrea Fleming. Welcome. If you would please state your name and address for the record, please, and then you have the floor.
Andrea Fleming, 7728 Grove Hall Avenue. I hope this is a moot point, but you've got my statement, and I'm going to read that, please. Though the developer has said that the proposed road in the back section of the proposed Meadow Vista development will be changed, it is important to identify why it is essential that the currently filed zoning replanning plan must be revised. On the Meadow Vista rezoning plan, adjacent property list, our home is number 13. We bought our home in Grove Hall because it was located in a conservation community, private, quiet, near the end of the cul-de-sac of Grove Hall Avenue, with little traffic and adjacent to wooded areas. The proposed plan for the Meadow Vista subdivision includes construction of a road directly behind our home with the fronts of the new lots facing the back of our home. The street lights, traffic, car lights when people are leaving their homes and driving up the street will glare directly into our backyard. Ignoring the issue of the noise of construction, when the trees are removed, the grading for the lots and construction of the homes, there will be the usual additional traffic noise from other cars, maintenance trucks with trailers, waste pickup vehicles, along with FedEx, UPS, and Amazon trucks creating noise behind our home. As expected in any community, we already have the traffic noise at the front of our house, but our bedroom, great room, and sunroom are at the back of the house, so we will lose any privacy, peace, and quiet where we spend the majority of our time, and we are retired. The exposure at the back of our home will increase the possibility of criminal activity when anyone drives behind our homes and can enter our yards and cause harm. It is unfair and detrimental at the back of our home. It is unfair and detrimental to existing property owners to construct a road behind our homes when it can be constructed elsewhere on the developed property. None of the other Mint Hill development projects nearby, such as Cadence and Wilgrove Pond, or the pending developments, of McEwen Manor and the courtyards of Mint Hill include any roads that are constructed behind existing homes and are detrimental to the privacy of adjacent properties. Thank you for your time and attention, and like I said, I hope this is a moot point.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Next person on the list, Mike Randall. Welcome. If you just state your name and address for the record, and then you have the floor, sir.
Yes, Mike Randall, 5227 Richmond Road, Mint Hill. Thank you for allowing us to speak to this. The issue I have is the argument for the density. The argument for the density generally is we're allowed a certain density over the entire parcel, but we're going to leave this open space and this open space and this open space, and therefore we should be able to increase the density at the front of the parcel. But the reality is that those areas they're proposing to leave open are undevelopable anyways. So why can't it be left as we have in our zoning there, the typical allowable lot sizes? Why do we have to increase the density even at the front just because of the topography of the site and unusable pieces of the site? The other argument that was presented was that eventually with the overlay development coming all the way to Nelson Road, that development's coming our way anyways. We're going to have apartment buildings. We're going to have et cetera, coming our way potentially. But do we need to do that now? Can't we just stay with what we've all agreed to, keep it our zoning, and look at another layout that might potentially still allow the property owners and the developers to make the money, do the development, still bring in additional homes, but keep it to our allowable size of lots, and therefore decrease it. And I think that's what I have to say.
Thank you very much, sir. We appreciate it. I think Derek Burns. Welcome. If you'd state your name and address for the record, and then you have the floor, sir.
Yes, sir. Derek Burns, 7816 Grove Hall Avenue. My wife and I are here tonight to support this rezoning petition. I have been a native of Mint Hill, and I've seen it grow over the years to my enjoyment. And it has been positive, it's been strategic, and without the growth, we would not have all the things we all enjoy now. We wouldn't have 4 grocery stores within half a mile of each other. We wouldn't have our own police department. We wouldn't have this town hall if it wasn't for embracing the growth in our community. And another thought that Mike talked to it a little bit at the community meeting. It was discussed that I think 42 homes could be built by right. I hope I have that number correctly. And I believe with the process, so that's a 14 home delta between what is proposed. And if I understand the rezoning process, by right, architectural requirements may not be as stringent as what it could be rezoned to with architectural, higher end architectural requirements. So from our standpoint of living, just about 300 feet away from where it'll go on, that if it's 14 more homes with higher architectural requirements, then that's going to raise all of our property values and benefit all of us. And it's only a 14 home delta in there. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your service to the community.
Thank you very much, sir. Jerry Mullis. Welcome, sir. If you'll state your name and address for the record, please, you have the floor.
Jerry Mullis, 7330 Happy Hollow Drive here in Mint Hill. I'll try not to be emotional, but I grew up on the property. And so seeing the changes, the gentleman two before me, Mike, mentioned about the overlay, that someday, you know, if we don't get this property developed in a manner that we can control it, that someday probably the overlay will be there. And the density then, it's hard enough for me to even consider. If Tony had made me save my money over the years, I'd buy the property from my 4 siblings and leave it like it is. But we can't do that. So our concern has been, I've been working on this for 3 or 4 years, talking with some other developers and all, and we had everything like from nursing homes, junior high schools, things like that approach. But some of the developers also, the density, the last one before this gentleman, Phil, was preaching the fact that he believed he could push through 4 per acre. And I doubted that from the very beginning and argued with him on it. But we're happy with this plan because it does limit. And I feel for those people, especially on Happy Hollow, that will look out their doors now, their windows, and they'll see homes instead of the trees. We just allowed that to grow up. Tony can tell you that most of that property used to be pretty clean. With the pigs and the hogs and the cows we had down there, you know, it was pastures. But we let it grow up because people started encroaching on it and trespassing and all. So it is different. So definitely in support of it from our family. So thank y'all.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Manager Welch, do we have any, if you'll come forward and read the ones these are comments that we received via email.
Again, I'll read these verbatim as they were sent to the town. First is Karen Ward, 8231 Dennis Road, Mint Hill. Questions: why are we looking at rezoning such small lots in an outlying area? The cluster of houses or townhomes looks like Brighton Park layout. Will they be brick homes? Is the state planning on widening Willgrove Mint Hill Road? The developer said there would be a turning lane. I am opposed to a rezone that would add another 100 cars to Willgrove Mint Hill Road in such a small area and putting condensed housing in an outlying area. It doesn't make sense. Thank you for letting us email. Next is Kim Stiles, 5224 Willgrove Mint Hill Road. Good evening. I have been a resident of Mint Hill for over 40 years in the same house. Raised 3 kids, and they in turn are residents of Mint Hill and are doing the same. I've seen a lot of changes, and I'm not adverse to change and growth. Mint Hill is a great place to live, and I can't blame folks for wanting to live here. I've studied the plans for the new development at the corner of Happy Hollow and Willgrove Mint Hill Road, and I'm offering my opinion because it is very close to my home, and it seems to be a drastic change in this area. There are 44 homes that are each on 8,550 square feet. That's less than 1/5 of an acre. I know this is and has been done in the downtown area of Mint Hill, but we're not downtown. There are only 3 houses out of the 56 that are on 1/2 acre. The homes here are on much bigger lots. It has kept our property value up and the traffic down somewhat. Yes, the traffic on Willgrove Mint Hill Road has picked up over the years. Putting 56 more homes in this area is not going to help. It could mean the road I live on would possibly be widened, which would hurt my property value and everyone else that lives on this road. Is there a rule that new homes in Mint Hill must be built on at least 1/2 acre? I can do the math and know more homes could be built on the 34 acres, but I also know all the land can't be developed. I would like to see Mint Hill adhere to the 1/2 acre rule, which will protect those that live here and for the future generations to come. What are the home sizes on each of the homes? If it's on the plans, I can't find it. I realize the land at question will be developed, and again, I have no problem with that, but it needs to be done carefully and responsibly. I would hate to see homes crowded into a small space in this area. It just doesn't make sense aesthetically, nor does it agree with the Mint Hill plan. Thank you for the opportunity to offer my thoughts without being physically present in these troubling times. Next is Lisa Plumley, 7635 Happy Hollow Drive, Mint Hill. To whom it may concern, I own a home on Happy Hollow Drive in Mint Hill on a lot across from this planned development, Meadow Vista. I have lived here for several years and thoroughly enjoy the peaceful surroundings. There are several existing concerns that I have, however, that I anticipate this new development will exacerbate. Traffic safety, water pressure, and flooding. After speaking with the developer and reviewing their plans, I do not believe they have accounted for these risks appropriately. Furthermore, I do not agree with this rezoning plan as it opposes the existing Town of Mint Hill land use plan, which was put in place to preserve the open space and small town feel of this wonderful town. I urge you to take time to reconsider this proposal. I believe delaying this decision will benefit all, as it has become apparent that the developer needs to review and amend their plans to account for several existing issues, risks that are present at this site. Thank you, Lisa Plumley. And finally, Tabitha Bush, 8125 Dennis Road. This email is intended for the meeting this evening, Thursday, August 13th, in regards to the proposed development at Happy Hollow Road and Willgrove Mint Hill Road. I live across the street on Dennis Road. My children and I cross the street almost daily to walk and ride bikes in Grove Hall or to the park. As I am sure you are aware, there is no sidewalk on this side of the road, nor crosswalks. Certain times of the day, it is almost impossible to cross safely. Although my children are getting older and I certainly would trust them to walk as far without me, the road situation makes that unsafe. I am greatly concerned about adding yet another development to this particular area without a plan in place for those of us who already live here. I have been told by neighbors that requests have been made for a sidewalk and crosswalks with little to no response. If someone could take this into consideration, I, along with others, would be appreciative. Thank you for your consideration, Tabitha Bush.
Thank you. That's it. With no others on the list, we will close item number 8, public hearing on ZC 20-4. I just want a point of information here at this point in time. A couple of those comments had some questions within the comments, and I want everybody in the room, everybody listening out there to know that a public hearing like this, we're not intending to have a question and answer session throughout the whole process. We will ask the developer a couple questions on our end occasionally, but I can tell you right now that town staff is available to answer any of the questions you have on any of this information. If you'll get with John Horde and his staff, they're more than willing to answer these questions for you on a daily basis, even if it takes some research and them getting back to you. So for you that are out there that have questions, truthfully, this is not the place for those questions, but for John's staff to handle throughout the day. And I can tell you that John does answer his phone when you call, when he's in there, because I call him quite often to get information from him myself. So thank you very much. Item number 9. Yeah, item number 9, public hearing ZC 20-5, filed by Epcon Communities for tax parcel number 195-231-01 to allow conditional district rezoning from R to RCD to allow a residential development.
We just have the applicant, no one from the public signed up to speak to the public hearing, so it's just the applicant.
Thank you. Welcome. If you will state your name and an address for the record, please, and then you have the floor, sir.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, council members. My name is Mike Davis. I am with Epcon Communities. I'm Director of Land Development. Our corporate address is 11,020 David Taylor Drive, Suite 105, Charlotte, North Carolina. I'll be honest, I feel like a regular now. This is my third time before you guys, so I've got a quick presentation to go through about the project. Just a reminder, this project is located at the corner of Hooks Road and Idlewild Road, and that's on the inside or west side of 485. Just a little information about us. We are a privately held home building company. We've been building quality homes for the 55+ population. That's all we do. We've been doing that for close to 33 years, a little over, now it's 34. Actively building in the Charlotte metro area since 2013. Our communities are age restricted, not age restricted, and there is a difference. Our communities are typically smaller than the large scale age restricted communities for, say, like Trilogy, Del Webb, Crestwinds, a lot of those type developments or developers, builders. What does age restricted mean? In December of 1995, HOPA, Housing for Older Persons Act, was signed into law. Under HOPA, it allows a community to restrict the units to be occupied or owned with at least one member being 55 or older. 80% of the community or homes units must meet the above. Annual surveys must be taken to adhere to the above guidelines, and these requirements must be deeded to the property or part of the covenants, conditions, restrictions on the property. I want to relay to the board, to the council, we've been listening to the community, you guys and staff. I want to take you kind of a progression of where we started real quickly. This is our first sketch. This was the first one I presented in a workshop. We were at 53 units. Our lots were 53 by 120, and then we were at a density at 2.5 roughly. Since that time, we revised our sketch. We went to 49 lots, went through the sketch approval from Mecklenburg County and submitted to the town. At that point, we increased the lots because there was lot size because there was some concern regarding the distance between it. So we went to 58 feet wide by 120. And at that density, we're at 2.33. And after having the community meeting, which we did hold this Tuesday, we put a tent on the property, invited everybody out. There was about 25 to 30 people, so it was a very good turnout. Luckily, the weather didn't impact us. And based on that, we've revised and we have a new sketch. John may have been surprised when he got it today. We have dropped the lot count to 42 lots. That puts us at 2 units per acre. We increased the lot width to 60 by 120. We also increased the perimeter buffer to 30 feet. It was 25. In the community meeting, especially Davis Trace, if you look at the north end of that map is Davis Trace. They wanted to keep as much of that existing tree line along that property line, and that's what we definitely agreed to because we feel it benefits them, it benefits us. So we increased it another 5 feet, so that's 30 feet of buffer all the way around the edges. As I mentioned earlier, we increased the side setback to 7.5 versus 5.25 because there was some concern about how close. So that puts our houses 15, and with the larger lot, 15 to 18 feet between them. And again, if you have any questions about this revised sketch, I'll be happy to answer it. We also, by removing 7 lots, our open space increased to 10.7 acres. Our communities have less impact on the community. Half the people, half the traffic of a typical single-family development. Based on the ITE, with the Institute of Transportation Engineers, our communities generate about 50% less traffic per day. And you will find that our homeowners, buyers travel in off-peak hours, and this is multiple studies throughout. Also, the typical single-family residence has 3.36 people per unit. In an age-restricted community, it averages 1.7. So, for example, as I laid out here, 42 lots, typical single-family community, 3.36 times 42, that's 142 people, or 141, excuse me. At the age restricted, same amount of lots, 1.7, 42 lot, it's 71 people. So again, it's less impact. We also do not impact schools. Nationally, studies have shown about 3% may have school-age children. Here locally, we're seeing 1% or less. In those cases, it's usually an event, tragic event, or some event that causes it. Also, our communities have a lower crime rate. This is a traffic comparison. As part of the community meeting, there was some concern about traffic. If you look at a typical single-family residential use, 42 lots would generate 468 trips per day. In an age-restricted community at 42 lots, generates 263 or 262 trips per day. Our trips come out to 206 less trips per day. And you'll find that our homeowners, buyers travel in the off-peak hours. The benefits of our age-restricted community. We provide a good tax revenue for the town, county, and the schools without impacting the schools. We also have a strong average price in the Charlotte market. We're averaging at $430,000 per house, and we average over $200 a square foot. We use high-quality architectural features. We use a 50-year siding painted like a hardy plank or LP. We use cultured stone with brick accents, and we also use 30-year architectural shingles. You'll find that our homeowners, buyers also support the local businesses, restaurants, and services close by. They also are very active, donating time and funds to charities and community events. This next slide is an aerial shot of our homes. And if you notice at the rear, just below where it says passive rear yard, there's a 6-foot fence there that connects between the house. Then in front, there's a 4-foot black aluminum fence. That area is the homeowner's private area to do whatever they'd like. Some do fire pits, some do grills, some do putting greens I've seen. So it's very interesting what they do. What's unique about our product is the rear yard is passive. And what I mean by that, there's no activities back there. It is maintained by the HOA. So there will never be swing sets or anything like that. Also, you'll see how all our product is a story and a half. So we never go above 25 feet. We don't have any 2-story product overlooking a property line or anything like that. All the bonuses are forward-facing or side-facing on our product. What's unique about ours is folks, buyers or homeowners, they can lock the door and go away for a month, and it's all maintained on the exterior. So the cards are cut, bed maintained, and everything. Here's a couple of slides of our product. This is a completed community that's nearby. It's the Courtyards at Emerald Lake. It is right off of Lawyers Road, just, I guess you could say, east of 45 past the Harris Teeter. The only difference in that community and this one is we have added a lot of color palettes. So you will get different colors where that one is our tan when we started for here in Charlotte. But now we've added colors, and so it's very nice. So that's it. And of course, I'm here for any questions you guys may have or concerns.
Commissioner Holden, let's start at that end.
I appreciate the work you've been doing to get the density down.
Yes.
So that's huge right there. Now, refresh my memory, because I know that we have met a while back. There's going to be a roundabout out here off of Hooks and Idlewild, is that correct?
Yes, and sometime NCDOT will do that. I'm not sure where they are in the process. When COVID hit, they tabled a lot of stuff. I've heard some that they're starting to bring projects back in, but at this time, I don't know a timeline on it. We purposely allow or will allow whatever right-of-way NCDOT needs at that corner.
Okay. And other question I had, I'm sure we covered this months ago. It's just a refresher for me.
No, that's all right. Yep.
With the proximity of those houses and everything like that, what kind of fire suppression equipment is inside of them? Is there any?
No, there is not.
Okay.
Because per the code, we're more than ample separation. Because at a 7.5, which our product, let me back up and give you a little bit more. On a 60-foot wide product, on a 60-foot lot, our product is 42 feet. So that leaves 9 feet on each side, so they're actually 18 feet between the houses. So even though there's a side setback of 7.5, our product's only 42 feet wide.
Gotcha.
And I think that separation is even more than the minimum in Mint Hill of 12, I believe is what sorry.
I'm Pro Tim Dalton.
Had the same comments or questions that Patrick had, so I have none other.
I normally let it slide right by me, but you know I've got to jump in here and tell you, I do appreciate you working on the density.
We heard you.
We started with a number that we couldn't live with, and you worked the right direction, so we appreciate you listening to what we had to say.
Absolutely.
Commissioner Cochran.
I sound like a broken record, but I appreciate the distance.
Okay.
That really is, and you've got a quality product. I've seen what you've done over at Emerald Lakes. One quick question about that. How long did it take you to pretty well sell out at Emerald Lakes?
Well, that one had 93 units, so I think that was about 2.5 years. I believe this one will be sold in a year. Okay. I believe we won't be able to build them fast enough.
They were nice products, and I appreciate the distance.
Well, thank you very much.
Commissioner Long.
Thank you for your work, bringing
Absolutely.
it down the density. I have no thanks.
We have nobody signed up to speak to this public hearing, so at this point in time, we'll close public hearing C 20-5. Oh, you've got some, I'm sorry, there's some came in on the email. So if I get you to have a seat over here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Manager Welch will read some that came in via email.
Again, I will read these verbatim as they were provided to the town. Hank Cowell, 8132 Stevens Mill Road, Matthews, North Carolina. Please read into the record the following objections to the EBCON proposed community at Hooks Road and Idlewild Road, Phase 1. 1. This high-density project is inappropriate adjacent to the large homes in Davis Trace on large lots paying high taxes. It would degrade the quality of life and property values. No one there would elect to purchase next to an EBCON project in full view. 2. Stormwater is problematic as follows. A. Valley gutters, especially without catch basins, are inadequate to handle normal runoff, let alone spring rains. B. The computation of impervious surface to pervious is reversed. Correct representation is 37% pervious and 63% impervious. C. Proposed pond at Idlewild will need a dam to retain or detain stormwater. The smaller pond is inadequate and needs to be expanded onto Lot 24. 3. Roads and traffic. A. Hooks Road is substandard at 19 feet. It cannot handle projected additional traffic of 196 vehicles and must be widened, let alone Phase 2 across from Phase 1. B. The radius of the intersections of project roads with both Hooks and Idlewild roads is not even close to compliant with NCDOT rules. C. There are no acceleration or deceleration lanes as per NCDOT. D. Compliance with NCDOT requires the removal of lots 1, 49, 35, and 34. 4. Hazardous conditions as follows. A. Proposed fire hydrant spacing of 750 feet gets only 1 for the project. 4 are needed. B. Radiuses, should be radii, I had to correct that one, sorry. Radii for roads A, B, and C are way too restrictive for firefighting equipment. C. Side setbacks of 7.5 feet are a disaster waiting to happen. This is from Mark and Sharon Bond, 10006, Ellebrin Lane, Matthews. As residents of St. Kidron, located at the end of Hooks Road, we have several concerns. First, we were totally unaware of this proposal and only found out about it Tuesday, August the 11th. We have lived at 10006 Ellebrin Lane for 14 years and received no communication as to Tuesday's meeting with EBCON communities on the site, but learned of it afterwards by our neighbors who had received notification. Second, the density of homes proposed on this site will impact safety in entering, exiting the community. Exiting Hooks Road is already an issue for the minimal number of residents, being on a slight incline and curve which causes limited vision, resulting in accidents. This proposed community would greatly increase the number of potential drivers using this road, thus affecting safety. We understand that the State Department of Transportation has proposed a roundabout at the end of Hooks Road, and that would alleviate some of the traffic issues. However, the state does not propose to begin land acquisition for at least 4 or more years if the funding is approved. Finally, should EBCON's community be approved, will Mint Hill annex the surrounding properties that are not currently in Mint Hill city limits? We are not opposed to this community, but are concerned about the number of homes. Therefore, in light of the short notice and before any decisions are made by the planning board and the town council, we request that EBCON communities meet with the concerned residents of Davis Trace and St. Kidron to further discuss plans for this project. Respectfully, Mark and Sharon Bond. Never got an address? Finally, Carmen Best, 15014 Hooks Road. As residents of Hooks Road, my husband and I have concerns about the proposed development by EPCON. We received the packet on August 11th and were shocked at the number of houses they are slated for this community. One of the benefits listed is 50% less trips a day. I do not believe this will be the case, as this community is 55 plus. At this age, people are still working, and I can't imagine the traffic trying to get off this road when leaving for work. This road is already narrow, and the additional traffic for this many homes will be detrimental. Also, to get on and off Hooks Road is already dangerous enough. There are many accidents between Hooks and Stallings that further congestion will only make worse. It would be better to propose a redesign for access and decreased number of houses for the safety of all the current and future residents of Hooks Road and Ellerburn Lane. Our other concern is annexation. As this is a proposed Mint Hill community, is the plan to annex all of Hooks Road, Ellerburn Lane. Carmen Best.
Thank you, Manager Wells. With that and no other people, we will close public hearing ZC 20-5. Thank you very much for your time. Item 10, public hearing ZC 20-6, filed by John Lintner with Meritage Homes from RDO-A to RDO-A-CD for the purpose of hearing an exception request to section 4.22A3 of the Downtown Code for lots number 54, 1 through 3, 5 through 7, 11 through 14, 41 through 52, and 59 through 62. If you would state your name and address for the record, then you have the floor, sir.
Good evening. My name is John Littner. I work at Meritage Homes. I'm Vice President of Land Acquisition at Meritage Homes. So I appreciate the opportunity to stand in front of the mayor tonight and the commissioners. Wanted to talk a little bit about Mint Hill Village. Meritage Homes currently has purchased 3 lots out at Mint Hill Village, and we're under contract for an additional 71 lots out at Mint Hill Village. So let's see here. So the issue at hand for the project is, as you guys know, Mint Hill requires a 18-inch front entrance that needs to be above the curb. So let me back up here. I apologize. Can I get some water? Awesome. Appreciate it. Let me back up here. So the issue at hand, there's an ordinance in Mint Hill that requires all the front entrances to be 18 inches above top of curb. So when we contracted for the project, we submitted our elevations, and we actually we had a 18-inch reveal drawn on our elevations for the project, and I've got some handouts if I can pass those out. Sure. Is that okay? Can we pass these? So we submitted our plans during the project. We purchased 3 lots. We started the community, which is directly behind us here in Mint Hill Village, and we finished the model. And we're wrapping the model up, and we went to apply for our CO of the model. And during that process, the town staff informed us that the model was not in compliance because of the 18-inch ordinance. So we had some meetings with staff, and we had a misinterpretation of the overlay ordinance of the 18 inches. So we interpreted that the 18 inches should be from top of the sidewalk, as it states. And the sidewalk in the ordinance actually means the public walk. We interpreted the sidewalk as the front walk. So we we had our plans designed for that 18-inch reveal, and again, there was a misinterpretation of that ordinance. So I passed out the plans that were approved, and so really what we're here tonight to discuss is a potential solution. We're here, Meritage is here. We're asking for a variance, not on the whole community. There is 27 lots within the community, and I've got a site plan that is up on the slide deck, and we've identified 27 lots that were approved with pad elevations. So the grading plan was approved with pad elevations that were much lower than the top of curb. So we did some analysis, and we realized that there would be some hardship on us to comply with the ordinance. So we've got those 27 lots. So what we're asking for tonight, in exchange for Meritage to install their standard foundation, as you see on the approved plans that I passed out, we would like a variance, and right now we're required to do 50% masonry on the project. We'd like to ask for a variance tonight to be able to do full masonry on the entire community. So instead of having half hardy plank on the lots and half full masonry on the lots, the variance we would, in exchange to meet these lots, we would apply brick or stone masonry on all the elevations. So we believe that there's some benefits to Meritage as well as the town for the variance. I think the biggest benefit is the cohesiveness of Mint Hill Village. I was sitting out with a colleague of mine waiting to come in and give this presentation, and so it's a great, vibrant commercial area in Town Hall. There was kids running in the fountains, and one thing you notice, it's all brick. The entire commercial complex, including Town Hall, is all brick. We believe this variance, our brick with the brick on the commercial, will really help with a cohesive one Mint Hill Village instead of a residential and commercial. So I think that's one of the big benefits. This is a focal point in the community. Having a brick elevation, we all know the benefits and the maintenance of brick. The community will look as good today when we build it as it will in 5 to 10 years. So it will maintain its look for many years to come. And then I wanted to bring up, a potential downside of, maybe not having this variance. And we did some calculations with some of the foundation heights that we would have to do in the event that we have to conform to the approved grading plan as is. One of the things, I've got a slide here. So on these 27 lots, and really in order to get these front porches above the top of curb, we're gonna have to raise these foundations up. That's gonna do a couple things. It's gonna raise the driveway slopes, which obviously adversely impacts our homeowners, your future residents. It's gonna add some additional steps on the front of the house, but really what it's gonna do is gonna add steps in the garage. We did an exhibit, we had an engineer put this together, and we believe that on these 27 lots, the steps that would have to go into the garage would force one or both of the cars to either park out in the street, which, as you guys know, there's not a whole lot of street parking here, and potentially force residents into overflow parking into the commercial portion of the site. Something I wanted to point out, we certainly don't want to have a bunch of steps in the garage, but that could be a downside of the conformity of the current ordinance. And then lastly, wanted to show a couple of our approved brick elevations to to give the commission and the mayor a flavor of what this streetscape would look like. Ultimately, what this is going to do, it's a cohesive streetscape that looks like it's well thought out and planned. And again, the brick will tie in from the residential into the commercial. So these are two representative elevations. I do want to note that currently the model is built as hardy plank. We would, as part of the conversion from the sales center to the garage, we would convert that model back to masonry if this variance is granted. So I think that's all I had for the presentation. You've got the handouts I gave you. I'm here to answer any questions you might have about this request.
Commissioner Long, any questions or comments, sir?
No, sir, thank you.
Commissioner Cochran?
I agree with what you said. The brick would go on good with what's already here. Good job.
Mayor Pro Tem?
I agree. I appreciate you coming back with us with a better solution with the full brick. Unrelated to this, though, I was contacted by the Mint Hill Historical Society, which your property is going to be backing up to.
Yep.
And they've asked for a good neighbor faith, if you would meet with them before you put your buffer in there, and they would like to discuss what you're looking at, or maybe come up with some ideas to share that property line.
Certainly, I'll reach out to John and get their contact information to set up a meeting.
Commissioner Holton?
Just to catch me, this was before my time, so I'm getting caught up on all this thing back here. What's the estimated completion date for this?
So the lots are about done. We believe we'll take a portion of the lots at the end of September. And then by the early part of next year, we would close on the remaining 71 lots. We believe the build-out time, once we take those last lots in January, would be through the end of next year. We're seeing very, very brisk sales paces, so this is going to be a pretty quick deal for us.
Okay.
So the through 21, maybe it bleeds into a little bit into 22 with our sales efforts, and at that point we would convert the model from the hardy plank elevation to the brick masonry or veneer elevation.
Okay, thank you.
Do we have anybody signed up to speak to this public hearing? No emails as well? Cool. With that, we will close public hearing ZC 20-6. We thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
And now, due to our problem at the first of the meeting, Nick, I know you've never made a presentation in front of us, but we'd like to call you back up here. We will reopen public hearing on ZC 19-9, filed by Streetscape Land Partners LLC for a conditional rezoning from R to RDO-A CD to allow a residential development for property located at parcel numbers 197-011-16, 197-011-45, and 197-011-42. We weren't on the air earlier. If you'd state your name and address for the record, then you have the floor, sir.
Thank you. Nicholas Parker with Amicus Partners, 30 Union Street South, Concord, North Carolina, 28025. I want to thank you again for having me today, or this evening. I'm sorry there was technical difficulties earlier. We are here to present proposed McEwen Manor development. It's a 55-plus acre tract located at the end of Crest Hill Drive with frontage on Lawyers Road. We're proposing a rezoning to conditional use downtown overlay A. We were here in January and presented a site plan to the mayor and commissioners. Shortly after that hearing, we got some feedback from you as well as the community. We went back and made some adjustments to our site plan to accommodate some of those comments, questions, concerns. And what I'd like to do is kind of go through those revisions that we've made and see if you have any other additional questions or comments. This is the updated site plan. The plan we presented to you in January, the road network, proposed infrastructure, all that has remained unchanged. We presented, the project we presented previously was 218 units is what we were proposing, or 4 units to the acre. We did get some concerns regarding density, so we reduced the density from 4 units to the acre to 3 units to the acre. We're now proposing 166 units, 167 if you count the original McEwen home that we're going to move. We had some comments regarding the greenway and the way it was proposed at the back or the northwest side of the property. Had some discussions with planning staff, and what we've done is we've removed that trail, but are going to keep an easement between 2 of the lots that would allow for the town to extend that greenway in the future if that adjacent property were to ever be developed. That would allow connectivity, pedestrian connectivity now down to our main greenway that runs along the creek. The other change we made was regarding the connection at Crest Hill, which has, since we've first brought this project to you guys at your workshop, I think about over a year ago, has been the main point of contention here. The previous plan, we were proposing a emergency access only connection based on discussions with the town. We've gone back to a regular vehicular connection with the addition of sidewalks and streetlights along Crest Hill to enhance the pedestrian connectivity to the downtown area. The emphasis on that connection after discussions with town was that connectivity is a part of their ordinance, and so connection was made. The TIA that we had done originally included that connection to Crest Hill, so we've got that data available. When we removed the connection off Crest Hill under the previous plan, we were proposing 2 points of egress on the Lawyers Road to accommodate fire. With the connection to Crest Hill, we'll be working with planning staff to determine whether or not those 2 connections are required, and whether, as not just whether they're required, but their direct placement onto Lawyers Road. We may make some adjustments to those locations, one to potentially prevent right in, right out and a concrete median, the other to help alleviate some cut-through traffic by making it more difficult to get from Lawyers to 51 going through this neighborhood and through Crest Hill. We've hired Kimberly Horn. They did our TIA, and they'll be working with us on that endeavor. When we reduced our density, in order to maintain the original site layout concept with the linear parks and the greenway, we effectively eliminated we were proposing townhomes. We've taken those townhouses out of this plan, replaced them with rear load alley detached product, which we're calling our Village Cottage. And then we have our Greenway cottages, which are our cottages that are going to front the greenway along the creek. They'll be accessed by an oversized alley to the rear to accommodate fire. And then our Neighborhood Edge, which is our perimeter lots. They're a minimum 65-foot wide. They're much deeper. Their intent is to provide a transitional product between the higher density cottage series and the adjacent properties, which are currently zoned R. We also are proposing a 25-foot undisturbed buffer. Potential amenities would include a tot lot, gathering space, but the real amenities are the linear parks and the greenway. I don't know that we will offer a pool amenity. We've seen the trend shifting away from that if there is pedestrian access to a town center. And then lastly, I'm a big stormwater nut, so we really like to get creative on our projects with some of our stormwater features, not just put them there because they have to be or they're required, but we want something that's aesthetically pleasing. So we're going to be featuring some of these options, such as shallow detention systems, which provide active space during non-rainy events. And here's some examples of some ones I did up in Huntersville. We think turned out really well, the way they look. So that's it for my second presentation of the evening. So if
thank you.
Any other questions?
Commissioner Holton.
Just what I had echoed earlier about the Crest Hill cut through, and that's basically my 2 cents.
Okay. Mayor Pro Tem Dalton.
As I stated before, the common area, how you have got that space between Lawyers Road and your house, and then plus the road access, you've got that much distance between the housing and the highway. And as Patrick said, if you can work with the DOT some way, when you have the access coming off of Lawyers, to reduce the traffic as a shortcut through Crest Hill.
Commissioner Cochran.
It's already been covered right there, thank you.
Commissioner Long.
No further comment.
All right, if you have a seat just a second, please. Do we have either one of our speakers back that spoke? Brian, do you want to read into record the emails that? Yes, please. Nick, while he's coming, I apologize for our technical difficulties.
Just one, Stephen, Tammy Michael, Daphne Michael, 11627 Crest Hill Drive, 11621 Crest Hill Drive, 11611 Crest Hill Drive. I live at the end of Crest Hill Drive, and I think our town is hitting us for the third time. First it was the office buildings, and then let's put a Chick-fil-A on the other side of the street. I love Chick-fil-A like everyone else does. I just don't think it will look right in front of our town hall and beside a funeral home. Third is opening up Crest Hill Drive for a 166 home neighborhood. When we purchased our lot, part of the connecting land and the house was separated from a good chunk of the land. My understanding was that this was done by the original owners because they never wanted Crest Hill Drive to be open. I agree with them. No one in the neighborhood is saying not to build the new neighborhood, but I would say 100% of our residents doesn't want all of the traffic from Lawyers Road onto our quiet little street. I would like a study done with how many vehicles that would cut through this new neighborhood to get to and leave Chick-fil-A, Bain School, Town Hall, UPS store, doctor offices, Char 7 bar, Hawthorne's, or people just avoiding yet another red light. I love Mint Hill. My husband's family has lived here for over 45 years. We don't need the other cut-through road. All I can see is one of our little residents, and now we have several new proud grandparents, and that would love to enjoy Crest Hill Drive the same way our children enjoyed it. Let's not forget the pet owners, and we get a lot of people that like to walk at lunchtime from surrounding business. Someone please reconsider. We never knew that this was even possible until the zoning sign went up. Kept Mint Hill from turning into a huge town that doesn't care about the simple life. I know several owners of Chick-fil-A, and I know that they have great food and that they are one of the best companies out there. This also means that we can look forward to either Highway 51 or Crest Hill Drive getting blocked several times a day. A red light will help, but just go a look at any Chick-fil-A at lunchtime. Sorry so long the message.
Thank you, sir. With that, we will close public hearing on ZC 19-9 for the evening. Thank you very much. Item number 11, public comments outside of those public hearings. If we could have Andrea Jasper come forward, please. Good evening and welcome. If I could have you give us your name and your address, please, for the record, and then you have the floor.
My name is Andrea Jasper. I'm at 5939 Bright Star Valley Road in the Versailles neighborhood. Just wanted to come and introduce myself. Over the last few weeks, I became engaged in the What's Up Mint Hill Facebook page. And I don't know if any of you guys are on that page. I got to meet Mr. Tony this weekend. I did a homeless drive for the growing community in Matthews, and he stopped by, so thank you for that. But I wanted to come by. I noticed standing outside that there's very little representation of the minority community. And so I just wanted to come and show my face. But also, one of the things that I brought up in the What's Up Mint Hill was that I noticed that there is no basketball court. I've been here since 2005. My husband graduated from Independence High School. I have a daughter who graduated from Independence High School, and I have 3 sons who are going to be going there. My husband played basketball at Independence. He also played at UNC Charlotte. And because Mint Hill is growing and it is becoming more diverse, I have heard some of the reasons as to why the basketball goals had been taken down from the Willgrove Park. And I just wanted to open that back up for some discussion. I figure right now isn't probably the best time, but I definitely wanted to put that out there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We appreciate it.
No
And
problem.
welcome.
Well, thank you.
We'd love to see you get more involved too.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. All right, that closes public comments, but that's all we had, right? Item number 12, appointment to the Board of Adjustments. June Hood, who was formerly with the Mint Hill Board of Adjustments, has submitted her resignation. Her existing term would expire on December 31st of 2021. So I need nominations for people to fill the spot that is open on the Board of Adjustments.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to nominate Mr. Bill Mathers Realty as to fill that slot.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Do I have any other nominations for that spot? Hearing none, I'll close the nominations at this time. We'll vote on Bill Mathers for the spot on the Board of Adjustment. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. We'll contact Mr. Mathers, let him know. I think they've got a meeting like a week from Monday or something, so we'll get him involved real quickly. All right, item number 13 is to authorize town manager to execute contract to complete Stonebridge subdivision contingent upon bond funds. Mr. Fry, you have the floor, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Commissioners. The Stonebridge subdivision is probably a subdivision you may have heard from constituents about. It's a neighborhood that has been in an incomplete status for the past, I believe, 10 or more years. Staff began actively pursuing the bond on that neighborhood 18 to 24 months ago. For the past 18 months, it's been an active legal discussion with the surety company's legal staff, basically resisting our requests to cash that bond and complete the neighborhood for the residents that live in there. We have some good news. We were advised by the county's legal staff, who is our bond administrator, to go ahead and bid the project. Let's get a hard target number, not just an estimate. With asphalt prices being low and an all-time low right now, we put it out to bid and prices came back about $200,000, $250,000 under the bond amount. That number was submitted to the surety company's legal staff, basically a demand, which is in the bond language that says once we've presented that number, they have so many days to present those funds to us so that we can move forward. So as we stand right this minute, we have an active, solid bid in hand for a good price to complete that neighborhood. We are waiting on the surety company to deliver those bond funds per the agreement. Upon receipt of those funds, we would then be able to execute a contract upon your approval of the town manager to execute that contract. So I'm trying to preload the chamber here and get a step ahead of winter, believe it or not, is coming. That affects our paving schedule. Staff is hopeful that the bond company will produce those funds in the next business week, I would hope. So I was trying to get ahead of our our September board meeting with this request. Are there any questions on that? I just dumped 2 years of history on you.
Staff recommends the board authorize the town manager to execute a contract with the winning bidder contingent upon the surety company relinquishing the bond funds to the town. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to that, and we'll get that to go. I have one quick comment, Mayor.
Yes, sir.
It's not only a bad streets, I got a lot of holes up there. It's right above my home. I go through there some, and there's some large potholes in there that need to be taken care of.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Do I have any further discussion? None being heard, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes. Item number 14, authorize the town manager to execute a contract to complete Woods at Bainbridge subdivision contingent upon bond funds. Mr. Fry.
So almost a carbon copy of the last statement I just made. This is a much smaller subdivision at the end of Surface Hill Road. Same developer, same bond company. It's a little bit more of a complete status, but there was still a lot of incomplete infrastructure out there. So again, we put it out to bid per council's advice and obtained a bid of almost 50% of the bond amount, and again, pitched that to the surety company in hopes of them agreeing to release the funds. So they're both on the same schedule, and this is the same request that you authorize the town manager to execute the contract contingent upon us receiving those bond funds.
Once again, staff recommends the board authorize the town manager to execute a contract with the winning bidder contingent upon the surety company relinquishing the bond funds to the town. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion? None being heard, all in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Fry. Item number 15, other business or council matters. Commissioner Long.
No, sir.
Commissioner Cochran.
No, sir.
Mayor Pro Tem Dalton.
Just thank the staff for working very hard to get our sound up and the patience of our citizens while we were having to do some presentations over. And just a quick note, Lions Club this coming Saturday at the corner of 51 and Margaret Wallace will be having a food drive from 10 to 1.
Commissioner Holton.
No, sir, Mr. Mayor.
Town manager, do you have anything further? I see our fire chief in the back of the room. Chief, do you have anything? Chief Ledford, do you have anything, sir? Thank you very much. Hearing no other business, I will hear a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
I hear a motion. Do I have a second?
Yes.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Carries. We are adjourned. Thank you very much.